Well, first off, I should point out, I didn't even invite him on the show. He suggested himself back in July. He tweeted at me saying, have me on your show to debate all this stuff, MSNBC. So we said, all right. After the debate, when it looked like he was actually a serious contender, we said, all right, come on then. So he actually invited himself on as part of his strategy of throwing himself into numerous interviews. It's how he's made a name for himself, because he was really a nobody 6 months ago. But he's done this intense media exposure campaign. And my goal was to try and hold him to account for some of the nonsense that he said in those interviews and for some of the lies he's told about his past. What he's done so well up until this point, including on the debate stage in Milwaukee, is to just basically talk over people, speak super fast and super confidently. Thing is, Yasmin, so do I. So I was ready for that. And we did our homework, my team and I, and we came to him with his quotes, with his book, with his tweets, with his tax returns. And I don't think he was quite ready for that because he's had a bit of an easy ride so far.
That was a moment, Mehdi, when you went at him with his tax returns. If anybody has not seen that part of Mehdi's interview, you certainly should watch it online because it is amazing to watch. When you were talking to him, I think two of the biggest things, it seems, that you were trying to hold in on was, first, his qualifications, and secondly, his trustworthiness. Was it there or was it not? And I think going into it, probably you understood it likely was not going to be there. All that being said, though, Mehdi, right, your audience isn't necessarily the type of people that are going to be voting for someone like Vivek Ramaswamy. Yeah. So even by having him on your show, right, it's not like those folks are now going to say, well, Mehdi kind of called him out, right?
Well, interestingly, first of all, I always say there's a value to truth in and of itself. I really don't care if I'm saying truth in an empty room. Sometimes it doesn't matter about the audience. Yeah. You just have to reinforce the truth. But I would say one thing, Yasmin, the DeSantis people are sharing their hell out of this clip because he's got rivals on the right who are actually very happy to see him held to account. I've seen a bunch of conservatives, people like Meghan McCain, who's no fan of mine, saying, why didn't conservative media ask Vivek Ramaswamy these questions over the past 6 months? Why did he get a pass on the right for so long? So actually, interestingly enough, given the dynamics of the GOP presidential race where he's snapping at DeSantis' heels, they're actually appreciating the fact that someone's asked some of these questions.
Yeah, that's a really incredible point. And it's interesting because of the leak that came out of the DeSantis camp just a couple of weeks ago saying we're going to focus more on ahead of the debate, of course. We're going to be focusing more on Vivek on that debate stage than they would, obviously, the front runner, which is former President Donald Trump. What are you most, Mehdi, worried about looking ahead to this election, specifically the primary race and then ultimately the general?
The most worrying thing is something I've been saying for a long time. I'm sure you have too. The authoritarianism that comes out of the GOP. And Vivek Ramaswamy, despite being the son of immigrants, despite having a brown skin, is as authoritarian as the rest of them, if not more so. On Friday, he announced that he wants to deport U.S. citizen kids of undocumented immigrants. He doesn't accept the birthright citizenship under the 14th Amendment. So it's a real problem when you've got a bunch of people who are not called Donald Trump, but are as authoritarian as he is, if not more so in some cases.
And it's also interesting to hear